I do have some pressure openings that I do. There's a 14-14 speedling opening into an expand that I do against Terran, and I'll do that against Protoss sometimes if I feel like they're a cheesy player. Okay, let's go into another ZVP analysis. This one was a full macro game. It had a lot of the nice stuff in it, but whenever I'm going over a replay, I'm aware that oftentimes emotionally you gravitate toward the last main fight, and you think about the match in terms of, did I have the better army composition? Did I have the better upgrades? Like, did I micro correctly in that fight? When one of the best ways you can analyze your games is to look at the early game slip-ups. Just all the small mistakes that cause you to not progress as fast as you should. So I'll try to keep a laser-focused attention to that. So I'm just taking my vision. I'm making 2 queens, 4 lings, pretty standard stuff. We scout this. We're trying to chase the probe away from the 3rd base. Adept chrono boosted. Want to get my 3rd at 30 supply. Is EVP my worst matchup? It used to be, until Pilly coached me, and then it's been my best matchup this season. I think ZVZ is my lowest win rate. Adept shades in, you can't explain that. I think I make a spore here. Yeah. So I didn't lose any drones. And I should be droning through this. Yep, drones and overlords. The opening is pretty good here. And Protoss has an oracle on the way. And I see no gas here. So I think this means I can just drone really fast. I don't really need to make too many units. This is a 2 gas build with oracle. I think this oracle got a little bit more damage than it should have. You can look at my defense of that. I would count this as the first main mistake. Thank you, Chronex. Appreciate you, dude. Okay. So oracle is chilling there. What happened to these queens? They should be able to zone this out. Ah. Yeah, if I was a little bit faster, just reaction time, if the queens were DPSing this oracle, then that would soften it up a good bit. And I could pull these drones away. It's better to lose mining time than to lose workers. So if the oracle is coming in from this direction, I could box my drones or double click them or control click, any of those options, and just move them up here. So the oracle has to go over the queen. So a couple things, the queens could have shot it a few times, and then I could have pulled the workers away and let this queen DPS this a little bit. So I take a little bit too much damage. Not the end of the world, but still a mistake. Protoss is taking the 3rd base. Queens are trying to spread creep and zone out the oracle. Getting my lair up. Should get my Evo, yep. And a Hydra den. Very clean macro from this Protoss. Nothing really out of the ordinary. This is pretty standard as far as things go. The oracles work as a scouting unit and a harass unit. That's the correct drone procedure. Just click them away from the oracles. Double gas here. 4th base. Hydra. I think I could be teching up a little bit faster. We're even on workers right now. I should be droning my 4th base. Killing rocks. I have 5 roaches. So I learned the lesson after that previous game to make 5 safety roaches. Good morning, Angelic. Never trying to push outside of what is considered meta to try and off-balance your opponent. Yeah, I mean, the meta is so vast that people aren't making that many assumptions, I feel like. There are a lot of silly strats on the ladder, so you can't really assume too much. The more you've played against a given opponent, the better you know them. And I feel like the more that mind games can be a factor. So it's Colossus, double Robo Colossus. Muta is a good tech option here. I've been thinking about my play going for like Hydra Lurker and stuff like that. I think I could squeeze in a Spire. Even just making a few mutas here would cause a really big reaction because there's no defense for anything really aside from right here at the wall. The third base has some, but there are two bases that don't have any protection for these probes. So maybe 8 mutas would give me a lot of time to just chill. What is the Templar Archives with this strat? I don't even know if there is one. Because I think I saw the Colossus and I thought about going for Viper. My Hive is going. I could get a Lurker Den at the same time. I tried a Hydra drop. It didn't really do too much. Cancel on this. This is pretty sick. Stasis traps behind the push. Trying to push this back. I could take this base right now. And kill the Prism. These Colossi are getting huge value. My creep could have been better on the left side, but overall it's not too bad. Fourth base is coming up. They probed a lot. 80 workers. They're still making probes. So I'm getting energy with my Viper. I have a couple more coming. The Templar Archives is really well timed. They didn't see that I was going for Vipers or anything, but I mean Storm is good, so it's a nice transition, regardless of what the reason for it was. I tried to go for a couple yoinks here. We got a Colossus. Nice feedback there. I have the bigger bank right now, but my opponent has more income with a higher worker count. And then some stuff that I could do. If my bank is really big like this, then I have a ton of Lurkers. Instead of putting all my eggs in one basket, I could put 3 Lurkers here and then 3 Lurkers here. I end up doing that later, but it was a little bit too late. 5th base is being taken. This Overlord's doing a good job. This isn't really the best angle for me, I don't think. I'm giving them a concave by fighting right there. Yeah, and then they flank here. That's pretty sick. Let's look at my composition before then, because I don't know if that was really a wise time to face check and just push directly. It would probably be better to hit this base, because I know this base is being delayed by the creep. And it's easier to attack a base that's not fully entrenched yet than one that's fully established. Like this base has a bunch of static in addition to the army. So they get to fight maxed out army plus static defense, and I'm fighting maxed out army. So assuming relatively even upgrades, like I have +2, they have +3, +1. This isn't super smart. I could Nidus the main. I am getting a Nidus going, it's even done. So that would be a really huge improvement, and it would make my approach a lot less linear. I'm just punching them in one location, which allows them to concentrate all of their effort in beating this army. And I'm even giving them a good location for that fight. I could push over here, just be annoying, or I could delay this base or try to deny that. And then the attack that I would like to do, this is even a blind spot actually, would be 4 Lurkers. You can just put them here or so, and then a bunch of lings that would attack all this stuff. There's a lot of value up in the main base that I can take out, even though most of the probes aren't up there. So I could do the crab claw of Hydra Lurker style by adding in some Nidus Lurkerling in the main. So that was a pretty unfortunate fight for me. And I'm gonna struggle to remax because I just ran out of gas. So I'm kind of slowly dying here. We end up fighting it out for a while. But their economy has been ahead of mine for a good bit. And now my army is pretty low tech. I don't have any lurkers or anything, so the colossi are gonna do tons of damage, especially with +3. So, to revisit some of the main mistakes this match, the things I could have done better would be being more attentive with the Oracle harass coming in, microing the drones away from the Oracle, letting the Queen do the damage. And then another one would be whenever I'm getting maxed out and I have a bunch of lurkers, just covering my sides here and here with a few lurkers. And then when it's time to push, I could also have some kind of the Nidus in the main to make it more complicated for my opponent. And I should also try to use some map feature, kind of like how Terran uses tanks to siege a base. Just put them against a wall or a ridge or something so they can't get a really nice concave. Like I was right here, so I got hit from two sides, plus the static defense was there. Nice play.